There it was, the Holy Grail.
The coin is the Holy Grail of Roman coins.
Handwritten letter from George Washington himself.
Damn, I'm holding the Holy Grail. Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm John. I'm a local bail bondsman. I had a guy skip out on me on a $50,000 bail, and I was trying to see what I can get out of this to pay the bond.
So he skipped on you, huh?
Yes, sir. No laughing matter.
Yeah, life is a bitch sometimes.
I decided to come to the pawn shop today to sell my rare 1861 double eagle $20 gold piece. I took this coin for collateral against the guy skipping court, and he did skip court. Now I got to pay 50,000 bucks, so I'm hoping it'll make a dent in the $50,000 that I owe on this bond.
So do you know much about the coin?
Not much. I thought it was pretty good condition, but I was hoping you could tell me.
Was this graded at one time, or?
No, I've never had it graded.
You mind if I pull this out of the plastic? Because it's not graded. Doesn't really matter pulling this one out.
Don't drop it.
Put down my little safety pad.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
How's it looking, son?
I mean, it's in pretty damn good shape. The U.S. Mint started making these coins in 1849, and they continued to make them for over 80 years. But there were design changes along the way, and this appears to be the original Liberty head. And it was a big deal to have one of these back then, because $20 was a ton of money. What I can tell you about this coin is it appears to be real. This is uncirculated, mint state. This is a very expensive coin. The reason this one is worth so much money is because this was a really low mintage year. There's 11 different grades of mint state, from MS60 to MS70. The difference between a 61 and a 63 is the difference between 10,000 and 40,000. There's also a variant of this coin that's worth right around $250,000 in this shape.
Really?
Rick, we might have the Holy Grail of coins here.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There's a possibility. I'd like someone to look at it who just knows a little bit more than me.
Sure.
So do you mind hanging out for a little bit and I can get somebody down here?
Sure.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Be right back.
Being a bondsman is all about making cash money, man. I'm hoping this expert comes in, tells me this coin's worth a lot of money.
Okay. A $20 lib. When we had the 1849 gold rush, America had a substantial gold supply. They started issuing the $20 gold piece. Up till then, they only had the $10 gold piece, so that's why they call it a double eagle versus a eagle, which was a $10 gold piece. They made one pattern in 1849, the year of the gold rush, and that's sitting in the Smithsonian today, and basically priceless. And then in 1850, they started issuing a $20 gold piece, the Liberty. It was the highest denomination gold people had out there, $20. What are your questions or concerns about this coin that you would like me to evaluate?
I need to know the grade on it. And I know there's a variant of this year that's super rare and worth $250,000 in this shape. So take a look.
Okay. The variant is distinguishable by the back. It was a design which was not accepted, but some of them were issued as patterns. There's less of them, and that's what makes the coin rare.
Okay, so is this it?
We'll look on the reverse, and that's how you could tell with the tall letters and the shield variation and the larger wingspan. Unfortunately, you do not have here. I am sorry.
Okay. What grade do you think it is?
Let me take a good look at it and tell you.
It was a long shot that this was the $250,000 coin, but it's still rare and it's still valuable. But before I can make an offer, I still have to have its condition and grade determined. We could be talking thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars.
Looks very high grade off the cuff. Very, very minor scratches on the whole coin. Good body, very slight wear. This definitely is a MS63 or better coin, which would minimally be worth $40,000.
Okay, thanks a lot, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
I'm very happy. This coin's worth a lot of money.
So what do you want to do with it? Pawn it or sell it?
Sell it.
How much you want for it?
You heard the man, 40 grand.
40 grand is not going to happen. I'm thinking more like 30 grand. And that's cash.
Well, he said it was worth 40, and I definitely need the money. How about 35? You know you're gonna make 5 grand off it.
I'm not necessarily going to make it 5 grand. I plan on making 5 grand. Plans don't always come out as planned. So how about 33?
34, you got a deal.
What do you think?
I'll go for it. What the hell?
Good
All
deal.
right, 34,000.
Fantastic.
All right, let's
Very
go
good.
write this thing up.
Very good. Just made $34,000. I'm very happy. I have to pay a $50,000 bond with it, but it's pretty good. It's better than I expected.
34,000.
34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,000. 34,0
I'm in LA with Dan, and he's showing me his collection of Willy Wonka memorabilia, which is absolutely amazing. He's got Gene Wilder's hat, he's got Wonka bars, he's got the golden egg, a golden ticket, and what is that?
What would you want it to be?
Oh my God. Is it the everlasting Gobstopper?
Yeah.
That's the real deal?
I'm even getting chills holding it.
It's like the Hope Diamond.
Talk about being speechless.
Yeah, that's like the Holy Grail. When I was 7 years old, that's the one thing I remember was the everlasting Gobstopper. It just sounded like the most amazing thing in the world with all the different flavors, and it lasts forever.
Yes. Yeah, that was the centerpiece of the whole film.
So yeah, Slugworth came to Charlie and told him he'd give him a bunch of money if he stole the everlasting Gobstopper.
Yeah.
And at the end, Charlie turned around and just gave it back to Willy Wonka, and that's when Willy Wonka gave the factory.
Yes.
It's crazy, too, because the movie was a flop. And then the 80s came out and video came out. It just turned into, like, the greatest thing ever.
Like a cult classic. It's still popular to this day.
So how much you want for the Gobstopper?
Gosh. That is the centerpiece of the film, which if we sell that, that's definitely breaking up the aesthetics of the whole collection. So I'm gonna give you one price, and that's that. I gotta stick with $100,000 for the Gobstopper. It was your favorite film.
If you throw in a Wonka bar.
So that means that I'd literally be giving you
a Wonka bar.
A Wonka bar. And that's breaking up the set, though.
It's not really a set. They were just, they were just Wonka bars. I mean, but.
I'll tell you what, I would give you one Wonka bar, and I'd give you the everlasting Gobstopper for $115,000.
But you can do it for $100,000.
No.
All right, so $105,000, and I get a Wonka bar.
I'm gonna miss that everlasting Gobstopper.
Sweet.
You got a deal.
It's like the fountain of youth. I'm 7 years old again. I mean, these are crazy pricey, but putting these things in the shop will bring people in my shop. They're in amazing condition. They have all the provenance in the world. They're 100% legit. They are wanted, and these collectors pay insane money.
All right, Rick, now that you've opened up your wallet, I've got this client that has a really, really cool Muhammad Ali piece, and if you have some time, I'll bring him in and you can check it out.
You got plenty of time. I don't want to go back to Vegas.
Hey, let's do it.
Earlier, a guy brought in a straitjacket that he says belonged to Harry Houdini. And if he's right, that's incredible. But he doesn't have any paperwork, and I'm a little skeptical. So I invited my buddy Murray down to take a closer look.
Good to see you, all right?
Hey,
Rick.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm a magician. I travel the world doing various magic. I've been in magic over 25 years.
This is what I called you about. This is supposed to be Houdini's straitjacket.
Wow. So what's the history of it, just so we know a little bit on it?
The story is Theo gave this jacket to my grandfather. He was very good friends with Theo.
Okay, this makes sense. Theo, Houdini's brother, gave a lot of his stuff away. Houdini did hundreds and hundreds of straitjacket escapes. When he came to a town, he'd always do a straitjacket escape over a building. Generally, the newspaper's building of that city. That's how he got in the front of every newspaper, because he picked the building where the Times was, or the Chronicle. Everyone would come to see the spectacle, and then all of a sudden his show would be filled up for the whole week. That's how he drew people.
Okay.
What makes Harry Houdini so amazing is the fact that when he performed, it was a do-or-die situation. Either he would fall to his death or escape from a jacket. Now, he did escapes upside down. Now, it looked like it was harder. Well, ironically, when you're upside down, your torso stretches. When your torso stretches, it makes more room in the jacket.
Okay.
So something that looks death-defying actually helped him get out.
So what are the chances of this actually being Houdini's jacket?
What's interesting with all these jackets is that each jacket was individually made by hand. Each rivet has a certain space, and these rivets are never gonna match another jacket spacing. Now, a company that he always used a lot was a Swanfelt tent and awning company, and generally that stamp is on a jacket. Oh, well, Swanfelt tent and awning company.
I thought for sure there was no way we could prove this was Houdini's, and now we have a positive clue.
This is a great start, but to prove it, I need to find a photograph, which is like a 1 in a million chance. But if this is really Houdini's jacket, this is like the Holy Grail, of Houdini. So I'll look at my resources, and I have a huge file of resources, and that'll let me know if I can authenticate this or not.
Okay, sounds good.
Great, thanks, guys.
Hey, you're back.
I am.
Finally.
Yeah, I know, sorry about that. So I found the only photographs of a jacket that's as close as we can get to this jacket. It's the exact same style, made by the same company. This is January 1st, 1915 in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna do a little bit of forensic work. I'm gonna look at the stitching. I'm gonna count every single stitch. If there's one stitch less, it's not the jacket.
Well, this is a moment that I've been waiting on for a long time.
Let's check this thing out, let's see if this is the actual jacket. Unbelievable, look at this. This rivet here is flattened, so is this one. This rivet is raised, that's raised. You can see it in the photo, it's that clear as day. This is actually reflected off the camera, which a flat surface would. This is a great sign. This right here is this. That's identical. Granted, they could have put the same amount of rivets in jackets, fair enough. But you have 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check this out, right there. Double stitch.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's almost like 1 in a million. You know what? This is Houdini's jacket from January 1st, 1915 in St. Louis.
That is absolutely awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Even in magic history, this is huge.
Now that we found out that it's real, I wish me and my cousins hadn't played so hard in it when we were 5 and 6 years old.
All right, so tell me, what did these things go for?
This jacket, I would estimate, would go anywhere between $34,000 and $42,000.
Okay. Thanks, man. You're the best.
Yep. There you go. I've seen a few Houdini jackets, but it's always the jacket and then a different picture. This is the first time ever I've seen Harry Houdini in a jacket and then having the exact same jacket beside me.
All right, so how much do you want for it?
If I could get 40, I think we'd have a deal.
All right, I'm thinking 15. It's in really rough shape. It's had repairs on it. It could be years before I sell this thing.
I might go a little less than 40, maybe 35.
I'll tell you what, I'll go 25 grand. That is tops.
If you could come up to 30, then we've got a deal.
I'll go, 25 is it.
Well, this has been an awesome day. I think I'll keep it.
Okay.
I'm always here, man.
Awesome, thank you guys. Forget the numbers. The most exciting thing is to actually have the expert come in and find an actual photograph of Harry Houdini wearing my jacket. Absolutely blew me away, blew me away.
I can't believe this guy wouldn't budge on his price. Even though we were only 5 grand off on the price, $25,000 is the most I could offer. Damn, I really wanted this jacket. I almost feel like running after him in the parking lot right now. What do we got here?
I've got 4 volumes of history of Don Quixote.
Okay.
They were printed in 1731.
So did you ever read Don Quixote?
40, 50 years ago.
You remember any of it?
Not really.
Okay.
I decided to come into the pawn shop today to sell my collection of Don Quixote books. My dad was a big book collector, so these books were a part of his collection. I don't know how much these things are worth, but I'm hoping to actually start a college fund for our daughter.
This is cool. You know anything about them?
I don't really know much about them, except they're leather bound, and inside the front cover, it said it's a 4th edition printing from 1731.
Okay. It was written in the 1600s, and you read it today, there's still funny passages in it that will make you laugh. It's about Don Quixote, who thinks he's a valorous knight, but I think he cruises around on like a donkey, all right? Don Quixote is a novel about an ordinary guy who decides to put on a suit of armor and go out looking for adventures. He's sort of a bumbling fool, always getting into trouble. Like a 16th century Chum-Li. Okay, well, they were obviously bought before 1962 at a bookstore in Salt Lake City. When you see an address without a zip code, that means it's like 1962 or before. That's when they came out with zip codes.
Wow, didn't know that.
And these are definitely old. I mean, this is hand-laid paper. You know, it's been a popular book for over 400 years.
Yes.
So these are sort of timeless like that, and that's why they are collectible. These books are hundreds of years old, leather-bound, and in pretty good condition. So I'm betting they're actually worth quite a bit. Here's my concerns. I just don't know enough about them. I can tell you that if these were the first editions from the 1600s written in Spanish, you would have like the Holy Grail, and they'd probably be worth, I have no idea. It's got to be over $1 million probably.
Wow.
And that's where my knowledge stops.
Okay.
So let me get someone down here who will know everything there is to know about these books.
Okay.
Let me go give her a phone call.
Thank you.
I've done really well with rare books in the past, and my instincts are telling me there's some big money here.
So what have we got?
Don Quixote. I know just enough about him to
Get in trouble.
The guys usually call me down here when they've got a rare book. They don't know a lot about it, and so I come down, take a look at it, get an idea of what it is.
So what do you know about him?
Well, Don Quixote is probably the best-selling work ever after the Bible. So 500 million copies of this book have sold, at least. The author of this book, Cervantes, he lived at about the same time as Shakespeare, and critics largely agree that it's the most important novel ever written. So this is a big deal. Now, the first edition in Spanish was printed in 1605 in Madrid, and then a man named Thomas Shelton, we see him here on the title page, he translated it for the first time, the 2 parts in 1620.
Really?
And this edition here is over 100 years after that.
I see.
This is normally not a good thing. But you're lucky because Don Quixote is the most popular novel in human history. So later printings like this can still have some collectible value. And I'm looking at the bindings. They look to be the time period, which is always a bonus, though they're a little beat up. So for this 1731 edition, in this condition, all 4 volumes would probably retail at $1,500 to $1,800.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm disappointed. I thought they were more valuable. Harvard's probably going to be out of the question.
So what do you want from me, young lady?
I'm really not good at negotiating. And I trust you guys.
You know, she said they're worth $1,500 to $1,800 retail.
Okay.
Mind you, they are books. They do sit around a long time. They're not quick movers.
Okay.
I'm looking, you know, $1,000.
Really? I was thinking more like $1,250.
It kind of bugs me when a seller says they trust me to come up with a price, and then they try and get more out of me. $1,000 really is my best offer. I'm hoping to get $1,500 for them.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, it's a deal. $1,000.
Thank you.
I'll meet you right up front, and we'll do some paperwork.
Thank you.
In the end, I think we both made a deal that works, and I will definitely make some money. Hello, how can I help you?
I have an ancient Roman coin I'd like to sell. It's from 42 BC.
Is that what I think it is?
It's 2 daggers, and it says Ides of March.
Is Brutus on the other side?
Yes.
Damn.
I'm at the pawn shop because I would like to see if I could sell my Ides of March coin. I think the coin is the Holy Grail of Roman coins. If I can sell it, I've got my eye on some rare coins that are coming up for auction in about a month.
That's pretty cool. That says Ides of March. And that whole line became famous because of the Shakespearean play where Julius Caesar goes and sees a soothsayer and he goes, beware the Ides of March.
Right.
So where did you get this?
I bought this from a dealer in California, probably in the mid-'80s.
It's just such amazing history. I mean, we still talk about it today. Brutus and some other guys in the Roman Senate got together and say, hey, when Julius Caesar shows up today, we're all going to walk up and say, hey, dude, what's up? And then we're all going to stab him. And it was like 12 guys or 13 guys that stabbed Julius Caesar?
At least.
And he died right there on the Senate floor. I mean, it would be the equivalent today of killing a president in the Capitol building. Brutus made this coin to just basically celebrate the fact that, you know, I'm the great guy that killed Julius Caesar.
But what I think's interesting, too, if you look at the other side, he put his portrait on it. And this was one of the things that Julius Caesar got criticized for, was putting his portrait on a coin while he was living.
It's to this day in politics, you know, you'll have a guy running for office criticizing everything the other guy's doing, and the second he gets in office, he starts doing that. Brutus didn't stay around much longer after this to tell us exactly what happened. He thought the Roman people were all going to rally around him and everything was going to be great, and it didn't work out too well. It really, really is an amazing coin. I know there's not a lot of these in the world, and this one is in incredible shape. How much do you want for it?
I'd like to get $150,000.
Okay, I know they're worth a ridiculous amount of money, but let me call a friend of mine and take a look at it. It's a lot of money, and I want his opinion on whether it's real or not. It's not that I don't trust you, it's just I don't trust anybody. And we'll see if we can make a deal.
Sounds great.
Okay?
I think it would be great to have someone come in and look at the coin. I would really like to get somebody else's opinion of what the coin might be worth and what the rarity is on it.
When you told me you had a coin with 2 daggers and a cap on it, I ran down here.
It's like literally Game of Thrones when this was going on. I mean, everybody was vying for power.
Yes. With the collapse of the Republic and the paving of the way for the Empire, which literally changed history, it all boils down to this coin. This is Brutus celebrating the fact that he murdered Julius Caesar on the Ides of March.
Okay, so the big question, what do you think it's worth?
This one has the advantage of having a very large planchet where you can see the whole design. And the abbreviation of Brutus above his head is totally clear. Can I take a closer look at it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, thank you. Such a famous coin. And it looks like there are no issues. This is the real deal.
Okay.
Personally, I think a collector would be very happy to pay about $125,000 for the coin. But if a bunch of people showed up to the auction, it could bring 140, 150 grand.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Best of luck. Congratulations. Thank you. Personally, I would advise Rick to buy this coin if he can get it for the right price. It's a really good example with all of the details visible, so I think it's the kind of coin that most collectors would be very happy to have.
I agree with Dave. It's an incredible coin. It's like uber cool. And I would give you $100,000 for it.
I could come down maybe to 140.
This is the way I look at it. I have to send it off, I have to encapsulate it, and this whole process takes like a year. If I give you $110,000, I know I will at least break even.
I've got to have more than that.
110's it.
Yeah, I don't think I can go below 140.
If you change your mind or have really bad luck while you're in town, come back and see me.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool.
The offer of $110,000 is quite a bit lower than what I wanted to accept because I absolutely love the coin and it would be quite a hole in my collection that would need to be replaced.
I have a customer here with a really impressive sword. It's ornate, it's shiny, and it's really sharp, but he's asking 40 grand for it. It could be worth that, but there's a few red flags. Alex is here to be my second opinion, and if it all works out, hopefully I'll be slicing my way through a deal. It's not the Holy Grail, but this thing is pretty mysterious.
Wow, I know this sword.
At least one of us does.
Well, this is actually, it's like a historically significant sword.
Really?
Do you mind if I touch it?
Go for it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yep. So this sword belonged to a Russian prince. That name, Ivan Ivanovich Odevsky. He was a Hussar, and he was killed at the Battle of Brienne in France in January 1814 by Napoleon's troops.
Wow.
He was a war hero, and this guy gets killed with this sword on him.
Whoa.
So...
That's what I was confused about. It has an Arabic mark on the blade.
Yeah, this Arabic writing means it came out of Persia, which wouldn't be uncommon for this. So this was built with the intention of being like a head of state sword because this is about the finest blade you could put on it. And I mean, this thing is massive and you can hold it and feel like
It's got some weight to it.
Yeah, and it's well balanced. So
it'll definitely take an arm off. That's
this
for sure.
was not just a ceremonial sword. This was also a battle sword.
But it does have a ceremonial feel to it, right?
You're completely right. It's about as fancy as they come. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's really second to none.
I've never seen you speechless.
It's just, you know, you hear about these things. You never really think you're gonna like walk in and see it.
What kind of value do you think this has?
So here's the thing. This sword sold at auction for $30,000. And frankly, the sword undersold. Now, the funny thing about the auction is it wasn't the right auction to put it in. And so the collecting community didn't actually know that this was out there until after it was sold. If you take it to auction today and get it in front of the right buyers, I would imagine you're talking 75, 100,000.
Well, I think that's all I need to hear.
All right.
Thanks
that was
for
a
coming
lot.
down.
Thank you for letting me see it.
Of course,
Yep.
All right. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
So, for me to be in this sword anywhere comfortable, I'd buy it for $20,000.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah.
The problem is, it's too big of a risk for me.
Right.
I'd love to offer you $50,000 for this sword, possibly even more, but it's already sold once in an open market, and it didn't come anywhere close to the reserve it was expecting.
Right.
So it's just a dangerous territory for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that, especially after what he just said.
I don't blame you.
Now that makes me think that I should find the right auction for it.
All right, well, thanks for coming in.
Listen, I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too, thank you. After knowing the actual value on this sword, kind of glad I didn't sell it, and I think now I'm going to try to find the proper auction, and hopefully I can put it in front of the right people to get a better price for it.
A lady came in the shop with this incredibly cool 1960s Batman utility belt toy set. And she's asking $17,000. So I picked up the bat phone and called up my toy guy, Steve, to give me a hand.
I'm not saying that Batman's not cool. I'm just saying Superman's better. Batman's like a super cop at best.
Super cop?
Yeah.
Batman was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, but he's not a better superhero than Superman.
I mean, Superman kind of was the reason that the Batman show even got made. The Superman show was running more for like little kids, and they decided to do this Batman show, which was geared towards teenagers, but it fell back to little kids.
So the Batman utility belt.
This thing is amazing. Can I take a look at it?
Yes.
I would have been so cool when I was 6 years old if I had this.
I'll tell you what, to Batman collectors, guys, this is the Holy Grail. It was a toy, so it wasn't necessarily meant to hold up. And a lot of these didn't, because what happened is you opened it up on the way out the store, you ripped the belt out of the box, you put it on before you even got in the car. But this is an incredible shape. It has not been removed, it has not been played with, there's no stress marks on it. The only one thing that I see here is there's a little bit of paper tear right there off the box.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, but the thing is, she is asking $17,000 for this.
I've seen the belts just by themselves, the most common pieces to find, sell for thousands of dollars. In the case of this, I think you've got an absolutely great piece. You have tons of Batman collectors, tons of superhero collectors, so you can't miss on the market. I think you have no problem getting $16,000 for this.
Yes.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, amazing. Chum?
All right.
Have a good one. And this thing is incredible. All of the toys are immaculate. Everything pops. So I think the shop's gonna have no problem getting $16,000 for this.
I'll give you 10 grand for it.
Oh, no. I would consider 15,000. You'd still make $1,000.
No, I wouldn't make any money. If I worked on margins like that, I would be out of business. I will give you $11,000.
12,000.
No.
1150.
No. $11,000. Anything more than that, it's not going to make any sense to me.
Okay.
All right, deal. Sweet. Chum will meet you right over there and do some paperwork with you and get you paid.
Okay.
No, don't touch. You're not going to touch it.
It's not gonna fit you. It's just 32 waist.
Oh, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
What do we have here?
I have a World War II patch. This is an Alamo Scouts patch.
Whoa. Where in the world did you get this?
So my grandfather was actually an Alamo Scouts, and this has been handed down to me from my father.
That is really neat. I know that patch is one of the holy grails of like World War II patches.
Oh, yeah. I'm here at Gold and Silver today to sell my grandfather's Alamo Scouts patch. I'd like to sell the patch because I can use the money for a trip to take my children on.
I'm looking to get $6,500, but I'll go as low as $5,000.
This is cool. They were like Navy SEAL, Commando, Special Forces, all wrapped up in one.
So this is my grandfather's training certificate. He was actually a medical aide for the Scouts.
To whom it may concern, this is certified that Dominic
Scipio.
Private, 24th Infantry Division, has successfully completed the prescribed course of instruction at the Alamo Scouts Training Center from 16 July 44 to 19 January 45.
The Alamo Scouts were a very elite unit that did long-range reconnaissance. They also were considered bodyguards for General Kruger.
I know that you had to volunteer for this. My understanding was the training was absolutely insane.
Yes.
You know, it was just massively brutal. And then they go like, all right, you 6, we're gonna throw you on like a Japanese island and you might be there for a few months and you're gonna have to live off the land. They had to get on these islands, scout them out without getting caught, radio everything back, and survive for just unbearable conditions. And probably the most impressive thing about these guys is, though, over 100 missions, no one got killed. I don't know if it's the most collectible patch from World War II, but it's one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And you're looking to sell it?
I'm ready to sell it.
How much did you want for it?
$6,500.
All right, first off, let me have someone look at this, okay?
Sounds good.
You know, it's one of those things where a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Sure.
This is one of the most sought-after World War II patches, and it's also the most faked. Let me get a hold of somebody, get him down here. This guy will know everything about this.
Good. Sounds good.
Give me 2 or 3 minutes.
Great. I am not worried about having the expert come in. I know he's going to tell me the same things that I already know about how real this patch is and be able to authenticate that.
We have the Alamo Scouts patch and
Very nice.
You know, his graduation certificate.
Wow, that's interesting.
Okay, so now this was like a secret organization, but not secret?
It was, yeah. The fellow who ran the 6th Army, General Walter Kruger, decided that he needed a long-range group of scouts, and they basically answered directly to him. But it wasn't a unit that the Army assigned you to. The patches were designed by the unit, and because these were unofficial, there were only 440 made. And as a member of the unit, you could buy one.
That's cool. But here's the big question is it an original patch?
When you called, I looked up Mr. Scipio, and he was a member of the Alamo Scouts. He wasn't one that went in, but he was part of the unit.
But he did have to do all the training and everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you mind if I take a close look?
Sure, absolutely.
The manufacturing looks right to me. You know, the construction looks right. Because of the paperwork, because of the look, the construction, I'm going with 80% that this is, in fact, an original Alamo Scouts patch.
Okay, thanks, man. If it's 80% from you, it's 99% from everybody else.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.
If Rick is able to get this, this is not going to stay in the shop long. This is one of those patches that any World War II collection has to have. This is rare.
So, what's your best price on this?
$6,000.
Okay. I'm thinking more like $2,500. You know, when I called him, I checked online. Last one I saw sold for $4,200. It's not going to sell overnight, and I have to make some money on this, otherwise I'm not going to be in business long. Your best price is?
$5,000.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll give you $3,000 for it.
I can't at that price.
Okay, 32?
4,800.
If you change your mind, give me a call.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a nice day.
Thank you. It makes me disappointed, but if I cannot get more than $5,000, it's going to stay in the family, and I'll hand it down to my son, and it can be something that he will have.
So you think this bat you saw in LA really could be the called shot bat from Babe Ruth?
Maybe.
At first, I was pretty psyched about this Babe Ruth baseball bat, but the more I think about it, the more skeptical I am.
What are we talking money-wise here?
If it's real, it's worth a couple $1,000,000.
We don't need to spend that kind of money right now, Pops.
Didn't I teach you about business? You have to spend money to make money. But you just sit there and just rain on my parade. You need therapy. You really do.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
How's it going? I'm extremely excited to find out if this bat is actually the Holy Grail of bats. This could be one insane purchase that will shatter the records for a game-used bat of Babe Ruth.
He says it's the called shot bat. I don't know. That's why I called you.
Well, there are a lot of signs, you know, that you can tell whether it's going to be A, game-used bat, and B, if it's going to be the called shot. So did you weigh the bat?
I weighed the bat, 36.5 ounces.
Yeah, that's right. For the window, he used anywhere from 36 ounces to 44 ounces. So that's a good sign so far.
Okay, here's another good shot of it.
That's actually a good sign as well. I actually brought a game-used bat by Babe Ruth with me just to kind of compare.
Really? Used by Babe Ruth?
Yeah. As you can see from your photo, that branded signature is identical to this bat, which is a 1922 game-used Babe Ruth bat.
Oh, this is really, really cool.
You have other photos? Anything written on the bat?
Right there.
See, there you go. That's a huge telltale sign for the bat. Now, here's the thing. Baseball players, when they had a great season with that bat, they wanted it recreated. They wanted that specific bat sent back to Louisville Slugger. And when Louisville Slugger would receive it, they'd write the player's name, the team, the ounces, and then the date that it was received by Louisville Slugger.
Okay.
It looks like you have someone that hand wrote a name that looks like C.F. Dancer or Denser. Babe Ruth's name would be on that, not someone else's name.
Strike one.
Also, what's weird is that a grease pencil is gonna smush onto the bat. It's not gonna be beautiful like that where you can perfectly read 10-132.
Ooh, swing and a miss, strike two.
Did you take a picture of the knob by any chance?
Right here.
The length is a 35-inch bat. That was what they would put on retail bats. The inch marks were never put on Babe Ruth's game-used bat. Someone blackened the top right in the circle over the 35. So that is the telltale sign that is absolutely not even used by Babe Ruth. That's a $200 to $300 bat.
3 strikes, you're out of the old ball game.
Okay, it was worth a shot.
Definitely, because you never know when you're gonna get the gem.
Hey, Dad, there's a guy in Georgia that called up, said he had a piece of the Holy Grail. You gonna go take a shot on it?
Why are you even acting like this? This is a real Babe Ruth baseball bat right in front of you.
It was a baseball bat used by Babe Ruth that I am never gonna own, and I don't even like touching it. It looks so expensive.
Well, you can actually own this because it's going up in our auction. And you want to bid on it?
Here, let me see.
No.
Would you take his inheritance?
Depends how much the inheritance is.
Probably gonna go for like 700,000 to 800,000?
Yes, very, very high six-figure range.
You're not buying that bat.
Why not?
I'm telling you, if you have clientele for that, that's something that could get big, big money.
Take it away from him and put it back. If you sell that to my father, I'm gonna sue you for conning elderly people.
Corey, you got to be kidding me. Corey! Damn it. Did you see that? Corey always knows how to make my blood pressure go up. He bought a little green ball for $500. Sometimes I think he's the king of stupid. Corey!
What the hell are you yelling about?
I'm yelling about you spending $500 on a piece of friggin' plastic.
What, you don't trust me? It's worth a lot of money.
I don't think so.
You realize the last one of those sold for $12,000? Granted, it had the body, but the head's got to be worth something, right?
Yeah, probably about 2 cents.
The old man doesn't know what he's talking about. I swear, sometimes it's like he just wants to hear himself yell.
We can get this settled. All I gotta do is give Johnny a call. He'll come down. He'll tell us
Well,
what's
have
worth.
Johnny come down before I kill somebody. I'll bet you the farm that this ain't worth nothing.
What do you want to bet? I'll tell you what, you clean the shop if I make money on it.
Okay, I agree. Whoever loses is gonna clean the store.
All right, fine. Call Johnny down here.
All right. I just hope it's worth something, or otherwise you're never gonna hear the end of this.
I guess I'm the real winner, because I don't gotta clean the shop today.
Chumley, you're as useless as on a boar hog.
Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
How's it going, Ruth?
They're in a little argument over this. Corey paid $500 for this thing.
The guys called me down today to take a look at a stretched Serpent head. Apparently there was a conflict between the old man and Big Hoss what the value of this piece was.
So what exactly is it?
You familiar with Stretch Armstrong?
I had a Stretch Armstrong in the early 70s, yeah.
Well, this came out at the end of the era. This is the head of a stretched Serpent. You know, you're missing the body, but this is...
Yeah, we're missing the damn body.
It only came out one production run. Not very many were sold. There's only 2 in the world known to exist, complete. And with this, that would probably make it 2.5. The Stretch Serpent toy is very, very rare. Kids stretched them. They got little tears in them, and the insides popped out. Parents threw them in the trash. This is the kind of toy you only hear about.
So is a half worth anything? I know, because if you cut a Picasso in half, it isn't worth anything.
Well, most toys, if you have a part or piece, it really isn't that much significant value. But being the rarity of this piece, you definitely hit a home run if you only paid $500.
What?
Well, if you had it complete all together, you're talking about $12,000 to $15,000. Just this alone, a guy would pay $4,000 to $5,000 just for the head.
Oh, thank you. Someone's cleaning the shop.
Really? $4,000 or $5,000?
It's by far the rarest out of all the stretches. This is amazing just to have this piece here.
So this is like the Holy Grail of Stretch Armstrong stuff.
Yeah, the guys who collect these aren't going to argue too much with price because they know how rare these pieces are.
You got to be kidding me. I don't know how Corey did it, but he managed to make money on half a toy. Hell, even broken clocks are right twice a day.
Say I'm right.
You're right, Corey. I apologize.
And you were wrong.
I'm never wrong.
And you're old and senile.
I'm not senile, but I am old.
I'll be back with a Windex.
All right, for once, old age and trickery does not beat out youth and strength. You're screwed. Thanks, Johnny.
All right, no problem, Rick.
A guy came in the shop with a 1960s Volkswagen Space Patrol Nomura car. It's absolutely amazing. It could be a great buy, but I'm just not sure. So I've called in my toy expert to help me out. The Space Patrol Volkswagen convertible.
Wow.
Original box and everything.
This is really, really cool. You don't see too many of them, and part of it is there wasn't a lot distributed here in the United States. And then on top of that, they're condition sensitive. Most litho toys are. It's not like the metal was made to last years upon years. And looking at the colors, I mean, it's amazing. It just pops, it's vibrant. This item is a holy grail of the litho toy collectors and really the Volkswagen collector as well. It's a really, really neat item, Rick.
So is everything here legit and everything cool? I mean, the box is a real box.
The box looks good, and it's consistent with what I would expect. Everything's in nice condition. It's got the consistencies you would expect with the fenders having a little bit of dimpling to it from the process of production. To be honest with you, it's the nicest one I've ever seen.
Okay.
However, I think there's a couple issues with this car. As I looked it over, I could see some overspray on it.
Really?
And that overspray isn't consistent with what the litho technology would have been. Looks like maybe the car got damaged and then someone went in and repaired it.
I was not aware of that at all.
Someone did a really nice job and thought they were really good with an airbrush, but unfortunately got a little sloppy. So that tells me that this has actually been touched up or repainted.
So what does that mean it's worth now?
You know, I think in this condition, I think that this item, I think you'd be able to get $3,000 for it.
Sounds kind of low. I mean, I've seen online, sold ones sold for much more than that with lots of condition issues.
Yeah, the problem is that people would rather have an item that's been played with and shows that it has been. Restoration in our world isn't necessarily a good thing, whereas in the real car world, it is. Collectors, they're definitely going to see that.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, man.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. In working condition, these can draw a premium because they don't work very often. But in the case that it's been restored, even though the electronics work, in my mind, it's gonna knock the value of the item down.
It's like a pretty low estimate from what he told me.
It's Steve. He's a really honest guy. He's just giving me his opinion. Sure. And if there's been repairs to it, it's a big no-no.
I mean, I wasn't even aware of the repair on this one, but...
You still want 10 grand for it?
I mean, I guess I can work off a little bit on that price, but based upon, the assessment that he gave...
Yeah, because I'm looking at 2 grand.
Yeah, it's, I just don't think I'll be able to get there. $2,000, it's, I paid a lot more than that, so...
Well, thanks for bringing it. I mean, it sounds like we're way too far apart, so...
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, well, have a good one, man.
Thank you.
All right. As a Volkswagen with space, it was cool.
I've been trying to convince the guys that I can find them some killer deals. So I found something that could make Rick a whole bunch of money. This place is amazing.
World's largest collection of Nikes.
It looks like a temple to me. So give me a minute while I meditate.
So what all do you have here?
Well, it's the world's largest collection of Nikes. You've got 40 years of Nike running, all in chronological order. Where Nike running ends, Nike basketball begins. So you got 5 aisles of basketball.
There's just so many damn shoes.
You'll never find another collection like this anywhere.
I can appreciate a few good pairs of shoes, but this is insane.
What is that?
That's the dunk corner.
Holy sneakers. Bam, there it was. The Holy Grail. This thing was freaking amazing.
So what's so special about these, chum?
I mean, you got the What the Dunks, you got the Supreme collection, you got the Huffs, you got the Diamond Tiffany Blues. Everything's here. Can't believe it.
So what exactly is a dunk?
In 1986, Nike made the Dunk. It was a basketball shoe. But since then, the Dunk has become an iconic skateboarding shoe. And behind me are about 50 pairs of the rarest Nike skateboarding shoes that have ever come out.
Okay, what's your most expensive pair of Dunks here?
This pair right here is worth about $5,000.
Whoa. I think Chum set up a real possible deal here. I know enough to know that people will pay insane money for some Nikes, but I need to take a step back and work the math. I mean, what's your rock bottom price on them?
I want $1 million.
What I'm looking at here is something that's gonna take me 2 years to sell a ball. I'm gonna have someone working for me for 2 years that I gotta pay a salary to sell all this stuff. I mean, I'll give you 300 grand for it.
No way.
I mean, that's cash, you walk away, you don't have to deal with nothing.
No way, not even close. I'll come down to 9.
Rick, don't let the deal of a lifetime slip out of your hands. Rick is a tough negotiator, but I can't let him pass this one up. This is a gold mine for him, and not to mention a pretty big payday for me.
How long did it take you to buy them all?
13 years. You'll never see another collection like this in the world.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll go $500,000. I won't go any more because literally it's gonna cost me at least $100,000 just to sell it all.
$500,000 is $250 a shoe. I've got shoes in here that were $5 grand. I'll come down to 8. That's my rock bottom price.
I'll tell you what, I go $550.
I can't do it. It's just too low.
It was nice meeting you, man.
Rick.
It's nice meeting you, too.
Rick!
I really appreciate you letting me see everything, but come on, chum, we gotta go. This ain't gonna happen.
You want to sell anything individually?
Thanks for coming by. Nah.
Thanks for showing me.
Come on, chum.
You're really, really missing out. Rick, you know what? I still think it's worth a chance. Really sucks we didn't make that deal. Rick would have made some serious money, and I would have got my 2%. And having those shoes in the shop would be unbelievable.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing today?
Good. I brought you in a very rare book.
You have a book. You know what? My boss is right here. Hold on a quick second. Hey, Rick, do you have a second to look at a book?
Sure.
Today was actually kind of weird. I was just looking at a book with Rick, and another one came in. It was just perfect timing.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Classic of American literature. This is actually the Salesman sample for Tom Sawyer.
Okay, that is definitely cool.
I consider it the Holy Grail of Mark Twain collecting.
All right, there you go.
I'm prepared for tough negotiation. I've been here a few times. They always have their eye on the profit.
Okay, so what do you want for it?
Well, I would like to get $10,000 out of it.
What do you think?
What do I think? Let's see. This is a really rare Mark Twain Salesman's prospectus. Salesman's copies were thrown out after they had served their use. That being said, it's also quite beat up, and it's still not a first edition Tom Sawyer. With all of those things in mind, the value that I would place on it retail is probably between $9,000 and $10,000.
Okay. I'm thinking $5 grand. I have to resell it. I have to make money.
I mean, I tried to find out, and the Library of Congress doesn't even have a copy of the Salesman sample. It's that rare.
He's right that this is a more rare Salesman sample of Twain than other works by him.
Yeah, honestly, $5,000 is just too little for me to go. I mean, I want you to make a profit. I honestly didn't think 10,000 was unreasonable. I'll tell you what, at the end of Tom Sawyer, he finds gold. You know how much gold he finds?
$5,000 worth.
$6,000. Finds $6,000 worth of gold. That's really the least I could take. And I think it gives you...
I'll go 55. It's a fair price. You know it's a fair price.
I actually think 6,000 is cheap.
It was a little awkward to sit there during the negotiation. You want to put in your 2 cents, but it's not really your business.
I really want to stick to 6.
I'll go $5,500.
6,000, you will have a line of Twain collectors at your door, I promise you.
Once you start getting over like $1,000, $2,000, the amount of people in this world that have the money to buy it and are willing to buy it dramatically falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly hard to give this one up for that. It's a very special book. How about, like, you know, Tom Sawyer, he swears on a blood oath. I'll do a blood oath at $5,500.
$5,500. It's a deal. I'll meet you right over there, and I'll have someone write you up.
$5,500 was honestly low. I think he's going to make a profit. On the flip side, I think Mark Twain would be smiling to know that I got $5,500 for a book that was likely going to be thrown out in the 1800s.
What do you have here?
I've got a handwritten letter from George Washington himself.
Where did you get this?
So I found it at an estate sale in Richmond, Virginia. Bought a nice decorative mirror. Get to the house, go to put the mirror up, and the cloth that covered the back of it ripped open, and taped underneath, down at the very bottom, was that guy right there.
This is really interesting.
From what I've researched online, it looks almost exactly like other documents that George has written, so I feel like it is the real one.
George Washington really was that great guy you read in history. I mean, he was the richest man in the United States. He risked everything for the revolution. Because if they lost a revolution, it's not like they would have slapped him on the wrist. They would have hung him. As far as U.S. historical figures, nothing's bigger than George Washington, period. Without him, our country would look nothing like it does today. So if we have an undiscovered handwritten letter by George Washington, I'm holding the Holy Grail. This is really cool. It says October 21, 94, which I'm assuming is 1794.
Yes.
It reads, Sir, being about to return to the seat of government, I cannot take my departure without conveying through you to the army under your command. So he's writing to a general, which have led them so carefully to quit their families and homes and comforts to perform a long and fatiguing march. This is about the military marching in 94. This has to be about the Whiskey Rebellion. You ever hear of the Whiskey Rebellion?
No. What is the Whiskey Rebellion?
Right after the revolution, we were really in debt, so the federal government was trying to come up with a way to collect taxes. So everyone sort of came together and says, let's tax whiskey. So there was farmers in Pennsylvania, and they didn't want to pay the taxes. It just basically came down to George Washington getting 13,000 troops, started marching towards Pennsylvania.
So this was all about whiskey?
When you get a bit pissed off, you're in a bar and someone came up, give me $50 so you can't drink that whiskey?
Yeah, they had every right to rise up.
And how much you want for it?
About $3,500.
Something like this that deals with a historic event, we're probably talking a lot more. My best guess at the moment is if this letter is all legit, it should be worth at least $100,000.
Wow.
I'm just not buying the fact that a handwritten letter from George Washington was just found in the back of a mirror.
People spend a lot of money faking things that are worth this kind of money. So I'm gonna call someone up, I'm gonna get him down here, I'm gonna get him to look at this.
Okay. Just the thought of leaving here today with a big sack of cash, it gives you a lot of anxiety, but it makes you excited too.
With this much cash on the line, I need to be 100% sure. And Stuart is my go-to guy on historical documents.
I was really excited when you called me over because this is actually pretty important American history. But this is one of the first times that George Washington really used the power of the federal government. People were uprising in western Pennsylvania, didn't want to pay taxes, tarring and feathering the tax collectors, which may still be a famous American pastime these days.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
All right, what questions can I answer for you, Rick?
Okay. Is it really signed by George Washington? And how much is the damn thing worth?
Okay. In the pantheon of American presidential autographs, there's 3 at the top: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln. About 10 years ago, there were a couple George Washington letters that dealt with the Whiskey Rebellion that sold for about $120,000, $130,000 at auction. It would probably be higher now. There are a few things I use to authenticate these types of documents. So first, I'm looking for period paper. They used what's called laid paper back then. So there should be parallel lines about 1 inch apart if you hold it up to the light. See those lines that run down? So that definitely is period paper. That's a good sign for you. The next thing I want to check is to make sure this is in George Washington's handwriting. So I brought in an example here. Let's look at a commonly used word like the. So we can find a word the there and a the there. And if we start looking at the overall feel of it, the letter formation, completely different. So unfortunately, this is not in George Washington's handwriting. One thing this could possibly be is the body of the letter is in Washington's secretary's handwriting, and Washington signed the letter.
All right.
Let's come over here and look at the George Washington side by side. Here, he signs G.E.O. Washington, where in life, he usually signed G.O. Washington. You can see that it's very different than the way it's written over here. Yeah, so I don't think this is in George Washington's handwriting or signed by George Washington at all.
Ah, that sucks.
You have a really nice napkin.
However, I do believe it is old and antique. This is called a contemporary copy. It probably is 220 years old. If somebody wanted to keep a record of the original, they would make a copy for themselves. This probably has a retail value of about $4,000.
Nice.
So you're telling me that a copy is actually worth $4,000?
Right. Copies can be worth money. And this one has really terrific content. This would be about as good a contemporary copy as you can get.
All right, well, thanks for busting his bubble.
Anytime. All right, nice to see you again. When I came over to the shop, I knew that the original George Washington letter was in the Library of Congress. However, sometimes famous people make more than one copy of famous letters, and I thought perhaps this would be one of them. For example, Abraham Lincoln actually wrote out 5 different copies of the Gettysburg Address in his lifetime.
I don't mean to beat you up, but I'll give you $1,000 for it.
I feel like that's leaving $3,000 for you to just snatch up the next time somebody comes along to buy it. Let's go 2,000. I'll be out the door right now with $2,000.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1,500. That's the best I can go. Look around my shop, you'll find all kinds of things from the 1700s.
$1,500, you got a deal.
All right. Write them up, Corey.
All right, man, come with me.
$1,500 is a lot of money. To be able to walk away with just that today, I'm pretty satisfied. Feels good.
So what do we got here?
1963, American-made Fender Stratocaster.
Oh, to me, this is the guitar.
But there's something very, very special about this specific guitar.
All right.
This guitar was actually played by Jimi Hendrix.
That's a big wow factor right there.
What I'm bringing to the table today is not only a piece of rock and roll history, but it's very well preserved.
Okay, you mind if I pick it up?
No, absolutely, by all means.
All right. This is the Holy Grail.
He actually held this guitar that you now have in your hands and made wonderful music with it.
Is there any pictures of him playing it on stage or anything, or?
No, because it was exclusively played in the studio. This was his really favorite sort of recording acts.
I'm gonna set this down. How much do you want for the guitar?
I think this guitar, you know, from everyone I've talked to, I'd be willing to take, say, $750,000 for it.
I have a friend who, if this thing is real, he will know. And if not, he'll call bull.
Bring it, you know what I'm saying?
All right, I'll be right back. Give me a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, man. I have nothing to hide. Let's turn the lights on real bright. This is an authentic Jimi Hendrix guitar. I'm happy to challenge anybody that he wants to bring to the table to look at it, because he'll authenticate the guitar.
This is stupid cool. I mean, one of Jimmy's guitars. Hendrix turned the guitar into an extension of his body. Every way he moved was altering the sound of the guitar. When you see him dip down real low, he's bending the guitar, physically bending the guitar.
Right.
There's very few guys that can make their own statement with the guitar anymore. But guys come along like Jimi Hendrix and just take it to a completely new place.
I want to make sure this is 100% before we start talking a lot of money.
Yeah, you mind if I take a look at it?
No, man, by all means, that's why you're
Awesome.
here.
There's a couple of things you'd want to look at. The tremolo bar. These are usually bent and angled up. He played the guitar upside down. He flattened a lot of these out, made them straight. So they probably weren't ramming into his arm and stuff like that. Another thing is what they call ring wear. If you're playing the guitar like this, my wedding ring hits the guitar, removes a lot of the paint, finish from there. If you look at this guitar, the top side of the neck has a lot of that wear. That's from the guitar being this way. How Jimmy would have played it. Left-handed. The article that you guys have sitting over there, they asked a bunch of vintage dealers to take a look at this guitar with photos and stuff like that. The serial number here, L14985. This guitar has actually been documented. No doubt, this is definitely one of Jimmy's guitars.
That's really, really cool. In my head, I think I know what it's worth, but what do you think?
Anywhere from $750 to good auction, $1 million.
On a personal level, I absolutely love it, but you have to find the right auction. It has to be advertised in the least amount of time would be a year, most likely.
Right.
Let me give you $450,000.
450? Man.
My thing is, I take all the risk, you walk away with cash.
For a guitar that could fetch maybe $1 million on any day, your own guy just told you that?
Okay, but what
come on, 450 grand? Yeah, I'm thinking 750, man.
A lot of commissions and a lot of people got to get paid to sell this thing. Okay,
Right.
it's just it's the way the world works.
Right. Okay.
I'll give you $500,000.
This guitar's worth more than that. It just is.
If you want the money now, I can go $550.
Knowing that it could potentially fetch $1 million at an auction, I can't leave that much money on the table. $750, really, man. That's a bottom dollar I can take for the guitar.
All right, well, have a nice day. Tell me if it goes to auction. I might bid on it.
Okay. Thanks, man. Well.
$6.
I can't do it, man. But I'll call you if I change my mind.
Call me.
Okay?
All right.
He's fired one last bullet across the boat there with the $600,000 offer, you know. Honestly, I was starting to kind of get a little bit more tempted by that. But you want to come to a fair point in selling something of great value, don't be desperate about it. And that I am not.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. What we got here?
This is an old Civil War pistol, a Clark and Sherrard.
Clark and Sherrard. That is,
Yes,
it might be the rarest Civil War gun there is. You just walked in here with Jimmy Hoffa. You know how rare these are. There's like just a handful of these in the world.
Absolutely.
I'm like in awe of this thing right now, but just, they're so rare I have my doubts. You understand why? It's just,
I can see where
basically
you're
just
coming.
walked in here with the Holy Grail. So, how much you want for this thing?
There's been several of them. There's ones that sold for at a big auction house, and it went for like 60, 70,000, something like that. And I'd be happy with 40,000.
You've literally walked in here and told me, you know, when you go to France, to the Louvre, and you see the Mona Lisa, well, that one's fake. I got the real one right here.
I got the real one.
So I'm gonna go make a phone call, get someone down here. I'm not even beginning to figure out if this thing's real or fake. I just don't know enough about it. So let me call a friend who will know something about it, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
These are so rare, saying it's like the Mona Lisa is not an understatement. I've never seen one outside a museum, so I've never actually touched one. Can I touch it?
Absolutely.
Wow. There's 11 known to exist. 4 have this etching, this design. The last one came to market that was etched, and it was almost $80,000.
Okay.
The serial numbers of the etched ones were in the hundreds and 200 range. This is in the range of the known etched guns, which is really good. The problem is, from the ones that I know that exist and the ones I've been able to research, the serial number font does not match this. It doesn't mean that the gun is fake. It does mean that the serial numbers are.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very knowledgeable.
It could be legitimate, but the serial numbers have been tampered with. And once that happens, you're not going to spend $80,000. Most collectors won't spend anything because they're too afraid to lose their investment.
I love stuff like this. I love crazy, weird history. But we're 99% sure someone's tampered with that serial number. It's going to be too difficult for me to sell. I mean, when someone walks in my shop, I give a guarantee on every single thing I sell, and I can't do it on this. Good luck, dude. That's all I can tell you.
My pleasure.
The guy came in with 2 G.I. Joe playsets from the 1980s. These things are monstrous. There's just no other way to describe them. I don't know if they're worth money. Luckily, Johnny's a nerd, and he'll figure it out for me.
Wow.
Hey, man, what's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, I'm Marty.
Hey, guys, nice to meet you. We got the Defiant and the Flagg. Sweet, man.
All right, so tell me about these things.
The 80s was a fascinating time to grow up. I mean, the cartoons had toy lines. You had G.I. Joe, you had Transformers. I mean, you're watching it on Saturday morning cartoons, and then these toys were on the shelves when you went to any store across the country. You know, they were amazing. I mean, all the play sets, the vehicles, they were about 1/18 scale, so each figure fit in all of the carriers and tanks. To begin with, the Flagg and the Defiant are very expensive toys at the time. Not very many people got them, and not very many people saved them. I mean, these were 2 of, like, the largest toys produced in the 80s, and these are definitely the Holy Grail when it comes to the G.I. Joe line.
He wants $1,500 for these things.
Well, looking at the condition of the boxes, I mean, definitely a win-win on the condition of those. The big part of the value is how complete it is. There's always the little parts missing.
Okay. How are we gonna know if every piece is here?
I'm definitely have to open them and put them together, for sure. You're gonna have to.
You wanna play with them, don't you?
You're gonna have to let me do that, man.
So, how much are they worth if they're all here? Because he says everything's here.
Well, if everything's here, you could easily see in the $4,000 to $5,000 range for the pair.
Wow. Right on.
I mean, to any G.I. Joe collector, I mean, this is at the top of the list.
Okay. So you still want $1,500 for him?
I mean, you brought your guy in, and he's telling me it's worth $5,000 now. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2,500 for him.
can we do 38?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you $3,000 if they're all here. That's the most I'll do.
All right, that's the deal.
All right. So if you guys can put them together and all the pieces are there, we got a deal. All right?
Thank you.
All right, I'll be back in a little bit, man.
Cool, man.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go at it with the Defiant first.
I'm a little nervous about not having all the pieces there. I'm just hoping that I was a good boy and did what my mom told me and put my stuff back the way that I found it. This thing is really cool, though. And it's actually comes all the way up.
Isn't that awesome?
You guys look like you're enjoying yourselves.
You know, man. This is what I do every day, man. Play with toys.
Great job. Thank God I never bought these for my kids.
Dude, I mean, this is days and days of fun. I mean, you were everybody's best friend if you got any one of these toys. I mean, these are classic. Back then, I mean, these toys are massive. I mean, they'll never build toys like these again. I mean, the quality of them, I mean, the thought that went into it. I mean, the blueprints were so cool for these vehicles. I mean, you had to build them. You had these huge blueprints. I mean, you felt like you're a part of, like, the G.I. Joe Army, you know what I mean?
Well, the question, is it all here?
Well, overall, figures are here, instructions are here, and luckily all the pieces are complete.
Yes.
All right, cool, man. So we got $3,000. You got $3,000. I got
this.
Glad it was a GI Go and not a GI No.
You can take this apart.
All right, no problem. I got you, man.
Let me give you some money, man.
Cool. I'm absolutely blown away, and I'm stoked. I'm really excited. Now I get the plane ticket to London and a little side money. Maybe I'll go first class.
The guy came in with an old 78 RPM record of the song Stormy Weather, performed by the Five Sharps. I've never heard of it. So if anyone would know anything about this, it would be Warwick.
Hello, how are you doing today? What do you got?
And he says this is like the rarest of the rare records.
He's right. This is the Holy Grail of doo-wop 78s. Stormy Weather's a great track, isn't it? Lena Horne made it her signature tune in the 40s. And then here we got a doo-wop version of it in the 50s. In actual fact, if you've ever heard it, it's terrible. Yeah. It's awful. This is famous just for being a rare record. It's not famous for being a good record.
Okay.
Doo-wop music, it's really a forerunner of rock and roll. It's primarily comes out of the suburban areas of New York, Queens, Brooklyn, where guys would get together on street corners and just practice vocal music. The infamy of this record comes from a doo-wop record store in Times Square. Somebody brought this record in to show the owner of the record store he wanted to play it on his radio show, so he took it home. Somewhere on the way home, it got broken. The guy's pet raccoon sat on it. And then he put an ad saying, well, I'll replace it for the guy. And then they discovered how rare it was. They couldn't ever come up with a replacement. So from that point on in the record collecting community, there was always this myth and this reward for this one record. The raccoon story is really part of what makes this so notorious. But how can we prove that the raccoon made that break?
I'm not really sure how you're gonna answer that, but I do know that this record was supposedly the one that was that record.
I can't add in any value for the raccoon. It all goes to condition.
So what do you think it's worth?
This record could have gone for upwards of $20,000. I would only pay $20,000 for the most beautiful copy. This one, it's cracked. That's a major thing to me. But I don't think you could easily get more than $3,000 or $4,000 for it.
Okay.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure always. I think if the guy could prove that that the raccoon sat on this very record, it would be worth the money.
I would give you $1,000 for it.
It's funny you should say that, though, because I've already gotten offers 4 times the amount he offered.
Good luck with it. And also remember, offers are one thing, cash is another.
Understood.
Good luck with it, man.
Thank you. Be well. He's entitled to his opinion, but for that amount of money, I would just keep it and hang it on my wall.